Hello everyone and welcome back to our YouTube Kerbal Space Program series. This is going to be our YouTube career. Hope you guys have been enjoying the series so far. Today we're going to be doing a lot of orbital rendezvous. We took a bunch of missions last time to save, I think it was 5 Kerbals total, but there's going to be one that we're not going to save today because we're going to save it for later. In here we have missions to rescue Lindsay, Marfin, Tamlo, and Frodon, all from and Macbree, all from the orbit of Kerbal. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we can only save 5, because if we go over here to our tracking station, I believe one of them is retrograde. Well, retrograde means it's spinning the opposite direction. So like the Mun, for example, is going in a prograde orbit. Retrograde would be the opposite direction. Let's see what we have going on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've already saved one of them, I believe. Yeah, Sandfowl we've already saved. Frodon was the one that I was gonna say we would do later, but he's not retrograde, so we might actually save all of them. He is heavily inclined though. If we use the Mun's orbit as a point of reference, you can see that Frodon is at an angle. We might have to save that one for later. That was gonna be more complex. For now though, we can save these 5, and we can do that all with one craft. So let's get started on that now. We'll hop over here to the VAB, and we'll start building our craft. Let's see what number we are on. We are on number 8, YTC 008 of 5X Kerbal rescues. Now this is going to involve a little bit of moving around, some things to configure and some things to consider as well. We have the hitchhiker storage, which is what we're going to be showcasing today, and I believe I want to use the command pod, the MK2 command pod. My only issue with that is this is a 1.8, and this one holds 3. So with the pomegranate, we can actually do all 6. So let's do all 6. Let's get ballsy and let's try to do all 6. 6X Kerbal rescues. We'll grab the pomegranate. Now these are not good pods because they are not aerodynamic. They cause a lot of drag. They're very bad, and I would never recommend you using these unless you're getting a lot of Kerbals or you're sending tourists out. And this is a command module. This is not a command module, so there's not going to be any command on here. Is that what that says? No, it is a command. Minimum crew to operate is 1. Okay, so this is a command module. So we do have to have a pilot on board, which is why we have +1 storage. We're going to take off the decoupler on this. I don't like using it. It gets us in trouble. We do need to outfit this with lots of parachutes. Do we have an adapter? We do have an adapter. That makes us go to 2.5, which will hold this. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total. We'll have a pilot on board, so it's 6 Kerbals that we can grab. And that's going to be the majority of our vessel. We are going to put a set of parachutes around this part of the vessel. I don't think it's going to flip upside down. I think this is going to be the heavier part. We need to put some batteries, and we need to include a way for it to regain power, because we're going to have to, or generate power, because we're going to have to probably stay out there for a little bit. The hatch is right here, I believe. One of these two are the hatch. Maybe it's this one here. I always forget which one's the hatch. We need to keep those windows open. So batteries, we're going to grab a couple of these and put them on 2 sides of the pod. We're going to make sure offset local. That way we can tuck them in like this to make them look more like batteries. We're also going to put solar panels on top of them. I like to go with the 1x6. The 3x2s are a little wide. I'll show you why. So if we go to the 3x2s and we open them up, they're not great for trying to get further out to get sun. It's still 6 panels, but I like using the 1x6 because it looks a little cleaner. It goes out a little further, and it gets us power. Also, it looks like the ship is excited. Putting his hands in the air. Whee! But that's not what we're aiming for. I'm going to take these and move these over top of the battery. You can move them however you want in your build. You can even leave it where it's at. But I'm doing that because it kind of looks like the solar panel is now being charged over top of the battery. Like it's all one piece. So when it closes up, you can't see the batteries. It conceals it. They poke out of the top there, which I think is pretty neat. So solar panels on top of the batteries, that is done. We need a control wheel. So we're gonna put the control wheel in between the 2 pods here. Grab our inline stabilizer, make sure we're on 1. We're auto strutting everything to heaviest. I'm gonna put 2 on here just for safekeeping. This ship's gonna be kind of bulky. We wanna make sure that it's very nimble in the end. Now this is the piece that's coming in. So we got to put a heat shield at the bottom of this. This does not have a very high tolerance. The tolerance for hitting the ground on this is 6 meters a second. In comparison, the pods are around 7+. This one's 12. This one's 14. So these can take a lot faster hit, a lot harder hit onto the surface of the planet. So we have to come in very, very soft when we have this at the bottom. So we're going to ablate it. I'm going to make sure I auto strut that. We're going to only put half of the ablator on. This is going to save us some mass. In fact, we're going to go with only 200 ablator to set a custom number. You can just type the number there, and that will give us some more delta V when we put our stage on the bottom. We're going to put parachutes on this. Oh, how much does this weigh? We're at 6 tons. So general rule is when you're bringing an item or a craft in from orbit, you want to put a set of parachutes per 2 tons. So if we're at 6 tons, we need 3 parachutes of each. So we're going to do a set of drones and a set of regulars. Now I'm going to do 4 and 4 because we can set those around here symmetrically. And we're going to turn the drones sideways like this, and then put the mains underneath them in this. I'm going to put them underneath like that. And that'll give us enough parachute to come down. It's in the middle of the craft. It doesn't matter how we land, just as long as we come down soft. That should ensure that we come down very, very smoothly without any issues. So now that we're at 6 tons, we're going to have to put a fuel tank under here. So we're going to decouple this, that way it can separate upon entry. And then we're going to put a nice fat fuel tank under here because we're going to be flying a lot. This is a 2.5. This is a larger tank, but I think this is what we can use and get away with. And I think we have the Poodle engine. Yes. The Poodle's going to give us this is 540 in vacuum, 2102 delta V. That should be enough to capture all of these Kerbals. This craft weighs 17 tons now. So that's going to be that's our last stage. Since we're going into orbit of Kerbin, we don't have to build multiple stages. We really only need one more, and that's the lifter vehicle. And now that we've got the skipper and other engines that at our disposal, this should be an easier build. We're going to put a decoupler on this end. That should close it up very nice and clean. Make sure that the engine is strut. Make sure the fuel tank is strut. Make sure everything is strut together the way it needs to be. And then we're going to build our stage underneath it. Now this should just be a full-blown, massive 2.5 stage that just takes us up and around. I want to try and go as fuel as much as possible. We're going to go 4 of these and then a skipper. We're going to change this over to sea level, and we'll see how the skipper looks when we pop it on the bottom. 3,224 at 0.63. That's not enough fuel, or not enough TWR. So we're going to put some SRBs on the side. 35,000 is our current rocket cost. These Pollexes are big, but I think we might use these. I believe this calls for that. In order for us to pull that off, though, we might have to put some more control wheels underneath here, because it's really hard to turn with an SRB. I want to make sure that we get ourselves into orbit. We may even try to bring that back. I don't think I want to do that. If we can recover that, that would be really impressive. We'll see what happens. We'll play it by ear. We'll put a couple control wheels there. We'll bring this up, because we're teetering very close to 3,400 delta V, which is how much you need to get in orbit of Kerbin. So if we can just put this in orbit, we should be fine. Our only issue right now is TWR. I can put some fuel tanks on the side. Let's try to avoid SRBs. Let's see if we can't just build it with liquid fuel. I like using liquid fuel at any opportunity possible. It makes just me feel better about the build. We have a little more control over it. So there's 1.27 at 3,200. These engines are a little weird though. They don't skin very well on the 1.25 tanks. So let's see what I can pull off with that. That's 374 kilonewtons of thrust. They got the thrust, I just don't have the right tank underneath them. Do I have a 1.8 that's a little bigger? We have those 1.8s there. Let's see if that's what we need to make it look legitimate. Yes, that looks a lot better. Okay, so that gives us 3211 at 1.26. That is beautiful. So we're gonna put adapters on them, obviously, and make them clean up a little bit. We're also gonna bring them in just a hair. That way it sits like that, very proper, and we'll put an adapter on it to give it a clean finish, or a nose cone on it. Those are too big. I can make them orange though. So we're gonna make this orange. We're gonna make these orange. They're still too big. Go away. Go away. These are where it's at. We can actually push it in a little more for continuity reasons or just for making it look better, because I want the piece to be right like halfway. That incentivizes me to make this tank white as well. I don't like the lines though. We can make it orange. Let's just make the whole thing orange. The color of the ship doesn't determine whether it goes anywhere very fast or not. It's just my favorite color is orange, and it makes the rocket look cool for me. All right, that's what we're rocking and rolling with. We need an antenna on board in order to acquire signal. I don't know what for, but just in case, you want to cover yourself. So we'll put the antenna, it doesn't want to put anywhere. We'll place it here. Let's go through our checklist and make sure we have everything. We have power. We have ways to generate power. We have a control pod. We have parachutes for reentry, a heat shield, decoupler. Our staging is correct, and we have enough Delta V to rescue the Kerbals. Now we just need a pilot. We're gonna kick Bob and Bill off. We're gonna put Jebediah on board. Let's take Valentina. She hasn't flown yet. Let's put Valentina on board and get her out and about. Make sure she's in the right pod. She's in the pomegranate reentry. And that should be enough to get us into space. Let's set this down and let's bid our Kerbal adieu. Save and launch. This is gonna bring back 6 Kerbals. We're gonna get the one that's out and about first, and then come in to get the closer ones. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There she goes. Now we're gonna have a little bit of a drag issue with that pomegranate at the top. You might see the rocket have a hard time turning. We're gonna wait a little longer before we start our gravity turn. We usually start at 2,000 meters, and we're gonna wait till about 2,500 to 3,000 to start turning. That way we're in a little thinner air. These things have a tendency to front flip if you turn too early, if you're not going fast enough, if we're not pushing hard enough. And we're gonna keep our TWR right around 2. That way Valentina has a comfortable ride into space. So here I would normally start gravity turning, but we're gonna wait just a little bit. Start turning right around here. It's gonna be a very gradual turn. I don't want this thing to flip over. These pods re-enter very well. They have decouplers built into them. They're nice pods. They're just really horrible to get up into space. So we're gonna hit the caps lock button. If you hit the caps lock button, it actually goes into a finer controls mode. And this is better for docking and or making fine adjustments out and around. It also helps you keep your craft around the ball a little cleaner. You can see it's getting a little squirrely right now on us. Our TWR is a little high. I've had to turn the finer controls off because this is getting out of hand. The drag is too much. So let's keep it in and around 2. We're going to push our apoapsis up to about 50 before we turn sideways. And then we should be able to drop this pod off relatively close to being in orbit. So at 15,000 meters, you want to be at 45 degrees. And then at 30,000, you want to be at 20. We're going to wait a little longer on this one because it's got the drag issue on the capsule. And then at 50, we're just going to go hard horizontal. Now we don't have to worry about anything. We're 1 minute and 20 from apoapsis. Orbital velocity is 2,200 meters a second. We have about 800 delta V. Our TWR is really high. I haven't been paying attention to that. That was my fault. That would cause a lot of unneeded pressure and burn on Valentina, and we don't want that to happen. This is her first flight on this save. We've been using Jeb the whole time. Jeb's a seasoned veteran. Got about 400 delta V left. We're not going to slow down. We're not going to ease back the throttle anymore. We're just going to push it out. See if we can't get ourselves really close to orbital velocity. That way we can just pop over into orbit with no issues with the second stage. Okay, main engine burnout happening now. We'll stage. Here's the vessel. It's going to be going and picking up 6 Kerbals. We'll open up our antenna in case we need it for future. We're going to open up our solar panels. That way we can collect energy, electric charge while we're out and about. Our staging here is pretty accurate. We're going to lock ourselves. We can't lock ourselves prograde because Valentina doesn't have any experience yet. But we are going to hover around prograde and right on the horizontal line here. That way we can get ourselves circularized. I'm going to stage the engine, kill the throttle. We're gonna time warp until we get close to about 20 seconds to apoapsis. We are officially in orbit. We're out of space now. Out of atmosphere now. Gotta get my terminology right. So that means we have different time warp methods. 4, 3, 27 seconds. Turn ourselves sideways. Get ready with the engine. Our TWR is 1.45, so we're going to be hitting hard and fast. The Poodle's a very good engine. Let's go. So if the time counts down, that means we're approaching apoapsis. If it counts up, that means we're pushing it away. We're probably going to get a little closer first. Let's save the ones that are around the planet since we're here. And then we'll go get the other guy if we're feeling adventurous. That seems like the easiest solution in my opinion, because they're all around 80,000, and we're going to be here anyways. It would just make sense. 13 seconds to apoapsis. We're going to wait for that to come down. We're going to keep ourselves right around 80. We're going to try to achieve, quote unquote, a perfect orbit, where the numbers are pretty close together. 80.2 by 80.2. We're officially in orbit. We're over 70 on both. $80 by 70 is fine. We do need to be different, that way we can catch up to these guys. All right, first target is going to be Marfin. We're going to set them as a target. We can see our nodes. If I add a maneuver slightly ahead of myself and we go forward a couple of orbits, you can see that we meet right up here in 1 hour and 28 minutes. That's what we're going to do. This is going to circle us around, get us close. Our first rendezvous is going to be on this side. We're going to change the target, which we already have. We're going to warp to, not next maneuver, just warp to here. And this is all going to be done manually because we don't have any SAS locking nodes. So first target's Marfin. We're going to get close enough to EVA Marfin. That way they can fly over to our pod and join us. We are going to face retrograde to target and burn off our speed. Right now this is our speed in reference to target. So we're going to slow ourselves completely down, close to 0 as possible. 4, 3, 2, 1. That's close enough. We're then going to turn towards target. And we're going to burn towards them until we have a rendezvous that's fairly close. We're going to try to get within 2 kilometers is the goal. Five, 4, 3, 2.9, 2. Now anything within 2 we can switch to with the bracket keys. It starts to render it and simulate it. 1 kilometer would be ideal. We're going to get close. We're going to kill our speed. Let me turn retrograde. This is why we needed the extra batteries and the electric charge, because we're moving around a lot. Face ourselves retrograde. We're less than a minute away. I don't want to warp there. But we do need to start slowing down sooner rather than later. I'm going to wait until we're 20 seconds away before I start slowing down. And then we'll bring Marfin over and grab them, and then we'll go to the next pod. We have 1,644 delta V. We should have enough, but we have to use 80 delta V here. So each maneuver is going to take a couple hundred delta V. We may just be able to just get the 5. May not have enough to get our gentleman out in deep space. We also have a mission to transmit science from around space in Kerbal. We'll go ahead and knock that out too and get that done. That way we're killing two birds with one stone. You want to try and combine as many missions as possible in one. If you're brand new to the game, do them one at a time. Get used to playing with the game because they give you enough money if you're playing a normal career to do them one at a time. But if you can combine them, the profits you would amass are pretty impressive. Okay, we're gonna map over to this, use the bracket key to switch to the other pod. We're gonna grab Marfin and EVA, and then Marfin is going to find our ship and fly to it with the RCS. Now, you might want to check their fuel and double check that they have enough. I know we have enough, so we're just gonna go. This is our speed as opposed to target. You want to leave prograde or retrograde right in front of your view when you're using RCS as EVA. That way you can use your W and your S to adjust your speed. So as long as our prograde is right on target, that means W and S is going to control our speed. If it's not there, you have to use the D and A keys, shift and control, to move it to where it is lined up. That way your W and your S will allow you to slow down, forward and back. It takes a little bit of practice. Once you get used to it though, it becomes very easy. Our pod is at the front of the ship there. We need to start slowing down, so we'll start slowing down now. We don't want to smack into it because we'll end up breaking something. May end up even breaking the Kerbal if we're not careful. So from there we can pretty much eyeball it from here. I forgot where the hatch was. I think it's the one that's sticking out, so the one that we're heading towards that we can see at the moment. I believe that is the hatch. Only one way to find out. And that is a no. It is not that one. So it's the one on the other side. If you notice, we have plenty of fuel. You have to really, really use this stuff very liberally to run yourself out. Okay, that's one Kerbal down. We're gonna transfer them. Actually, we can just bring all the other ones back to that. You don't have to transfer them anywhere. So we've got Marfin. Marfin is a go. We're gonna change ourselves to orbit. We're gonna change our target. We are now going to target Lindsay. No, not Lindsay. Lindley. Set as target. So if you notice, we're actually getting close to them over here. We could make an adjustment though. Let me add a maneuver and see if we can't get ourselves even closer. That wasn't gonna work. Why did that move it around so much? Let me move. Retrograde is not going to help. Let's try prograde. Prograde is actually going to be the way to go. 9 delta V in 13 seconds. Okay. We're not going to get exactly there, but we're going to try because we're manually moving everything around. It's okay if you're a little off. We're going to warp to maneuver. Or warp here. As we're warping there, we're going to change this to target. Make sure we aim retrograde. Slow down our speed. We're going to do the same thing for every single one of these guys. In fact, it looks like Marfin was going to be close too. Okay, retrograde to target. This has us at 300 meters away from each other. This is actually really good. So we can probably EVA here and just grab it first thing. This is super convenient. We're 20 seconds away. We'll start taking our speed down now. What we're going to do here real fast is take our engines and turn the thrust limiter down to about 25. That way we can make finer controls with our burns, because right now we seem to be burning past our intended speed way too quickly. This allows us a little more control. All right, we're gonna bracket over to the pod. We're gonna grab Lindley when it loads her up. We're gonna detach and find our ship. Where is our ship? Should be right here somewhere. It's like 300 meters away. Hello? What made it go away? Is that it there? Oh, there it is. Okay. In case you're wondering, the F4 button takes away targets on a screen. I did not know where it was at the time. Kind of scared me for a minute. I thought we were all alone. It's okay. Lindley found some friends. We're going to do the same operation here. We're going to RCS, keep ourselves with the prograde over the target. That way we can slow down by using the forward and back keys and not have to worry about trying to guess which way we're facing and how we're facing and when we're facing. Start slowing down. And we have determined that it's the door down here, the window, that we used to board on, but that's full. That pod is full. We need to come down here and grab onto the hitchhikers pod instead and jump in. So there's that rescue. Next target we have is going to be Lindsay. Now we're going to get you, Lindsay. Now we're not anywhere near lined up. We're going to add a maneuver and bounce around. This has us going out for a long time before we get to Lindsay. So let's see how many days it is going to be. I don't like going like too crazy. Yeah, it's gonna be like a week or more. Let me see where we're at with Tamlo. Tamlo's the same way. MacBree is the same way. Okay, so everybody's gonna be a long time to wait before we get to them. We could tuck in our orbit. Our periapsis is low. Let's bring in our apoapsis just a hair, and we'll see if we can't use that to our advantage. So I'll change this to orbit for now, because we're going to adjust our orbit. We're going to face retrograde and come in just a little. And what that does is that makes us spin faster, or rotate the planet faster than these guys. That way we can have more opportunities for lining up. Okay. That brought it down a little bit. There we go. Add a maneuver. Let's hop around and see where it puts us at now. It doesn't show the other target at all, because we're not crossing the orbit anymore. Oh, well, that was probably a mistake then. Let's move it back. Maybe I should just go out. That way we slow down a little more too. I don't know the best strategy for catching somebody who's like really far away like this without going weeks and weeks ahead of time. This might actually be the best idea. We're looking at the purple right now, seeing it line up and get close, and that seems to be what's going to work. Oh yeah, 400 meters away from each other. Perfect. So we're just gonna come here, kill our speed, and we'll capture Lindsay. That worked better than expected. I would recommend using maneuver nodes. That way you can kind of plan it out a little better. But that worked really well for us. So here's Lindsay. We're gonna burn retrograde to target. We're a minute away. We got plenty of time. We have to burn 100 delta V. And then we'll grab Lindsay. And then we have Tamlo and MacBree left. Sandfall is the old one that we rescued. We don't need them anymore. We don't need that pod there anymore. We'll go into the tracking station and delete these for future missions. That way we don't have to see these pods floating around. causing a bunch of trash to float around in orbit of Kerbal. How irresponsible we are. During my hard mode save that I have that I stream, we actually have a method for cleaning trash out from around the orbit of Kerbal. They're really neat little pods. That's the one thing I do right in the game. We had a really rough day yesterday. I blew up a helicopter that was 500,000 Kerbal dollars, and we worked on trying to make some more money, and I ended up killing some tourists. It was a rough day for our space agency, but we'll recover. We got some stuff headed over to Eve, which is the Venus equivalent, and it's gonna be a good time. We're gonna make sure everything works. We've got lots of refueling to do, which is something we'll cover in these videos in the future as well. Five, four, three, two, 1, 0. Okay, so we're gonna tab over, grab Lindsay, and that's KSC. We're flying right over KSC at the moment. They're enjoying their view. There's our ship. So we're gonna set the target up. If you notice, we're a little low, so we're gonna hold the shift key to bring us up. And we'll get this lined up and move over. Coming in hot, but we're coming in exact, which is what we want. I'm gonna turn and face the target and use S to slow down. It's gonna get us here. We should be able to grab on without any trouble. F or board. Oh, that was an instant board prompt. I'm used to pressing F first. Oh wait, it loaded right in. Oh, that holds 3. That's right. I thought that was gonna say it was full. Okay, so right now we got 4 Kerbals on board. Good to know. We've got 2 more to rescue, or 3 more to rescue. So the next one's gonna be Tamlo. Tamlo set as target. It's gonna be a long ways before we meet up with them. Let's see what we can do here. Oh yeah, if you can see, it's barely moving. We're gonna do the same thing we did last time. We're gonna increase our apoapsis, which will cause that to happen. Still not very much movement. Okay. Let me think on what I want to do here. Maybe we should make it substantial, like that. Still not doing a very good job. What is up with that? Let's go to periapsis then. Add a maneuver. Yeah, that's wild. I think we got to go way out. Yep, look at there. That gives us a line up there. That's what we need to have happen. So that's 239 delta V. So yeah, we might not have enough fuel to go grab Frodon. He may just be SOL for a little bit. We'll have to bring another ship up to save him. I thought 2,000 delta V would be enough. I may have been mistaken. Let's go. Oh, sorry for the spins. Okay, we got a maneuver coming up. 239 delta V. Oh, I just closed it. Rip me. That's not fun, is it? There we go. 238. See if we can make it a little better, a little sweeter. 800 meters. Okay, we'll line up, we'll shoot off, and we'll get around. Three, two, one. Burn. Burn, baby, burn. Doon, 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 doon. Shouldn't take very long. Oh, I got the engine thrust turned down. I was going to say this shouldn't take as long as it's taking, but there's exactly why. Also, we were aiming at target, but we're looking at target. It won't matter because we have the target reticule for our burn, so it still keeps us in line. And having this on orbit is probably smarter. .7 delta V. This will get us very, very close. So we are currently 800 meters away. Awesome. Now we switch over to target. We turn ourselves retrograde of target. Also seems to be exactly anti-target, which means we're probably spot onto it. And then as we get close, we'll slow down, and then we'll grab tam low and bring them on over. We'll get this party bus a rockin'. 247 delta V we have to burn. 18 seconds. I'm gonna change my engines up. Start burning. Five, four, three, two, one. Bring it back down to 20. All right, we should be able to bracket over. Grab Tamlo. I don't know where our craft is at the moment. We can probably see it right there, 250 meters away. Not bad. I'm not going to target this time. We're just going to kind of eyeball it. See how close we get. Ooh, it takes away the target when you don't have it targeted and you get close. That's the door right there. Ooh, that was kind of scary. But we were able to make it work. Grab board. Oh, it's full. I gotta go to the hitchhiker's box. I'm so used to just going straight to the pod when I'm doing EVA rescues that I forgot we're carpooling. We're all going to the party. Jeb's throwing a party. Board. All right, one more for this run. We might have enough Delta V to try to catch the other one, but probably not. Macbree. Now, if we had made these into like really long week and month-long waits, we could have saved maximum Delta V in order to get the other Kerbal. But I think doing this faster is better for us. Because it helps us narrow down the missions and we have more time to do other things. Like party at Jeb's place. I think we can come in. Let me grab this node. That way we can try to fine tune it. So I right clicked on it. That way it stays on the screen. And that puts us 700 meters away from each other. We're gonna use some maneuver nodes to see how it looks to grab the other Kerbal after we're done. We're probably gonna have about 600 Delta V. It might not be enough, but it also could just be the exact amount that we've been looking for. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. $55 seconds left. Time warp just a hair. 30 seconds. Now it says this burn takes 25 seconds, only because we turned our throttle down. It's one quarter of the way, so it should only take 6 seconds normally. But I'm okay with this. Target reticule's bouncing around a lot. Okay, how far away are we? We should be able to bounce over. Yep. Wait, where's the other one? Wait, so see MacBree. Oh, there's our next. Okay, we gotta go around. MacBree is where? I think that's MacBree there. No, it's Sandfall. MacBree's there. Wow, they're gonna catch up that much, huh? Because as we're further out, you slow down more because your apoapsis is further away from the planet. So then as we come in, we reconvene. This is orbital mechanics at its best, you guys. Isn't that insane? It's insane. Okay, so we need to slow down. I warped too much. I warped way too much. Okay, bounce over. There's MacBree. EVA, get you off of here. Find the craft. It's 800 meters away. We're gonna grab the target for this one because this is gonna be a long travel like we had the first time for our first Kerbal, and that's gonna be 5 out of 6 of them, or 6 out of 7 of them. And then we're gonna see if we have enough Delta V to get the other one. If we don't, this is enough to get plenty of money. Right now we're at 979,000. We should be closer to 2 million bringing these guys back. I forgot how much they were paying out per each one. I mean, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Because you can technically do these one at a time with much smaller architecture than what we used. Save a little bit of money. I think we spent right under 40,000 for our rocket. Maybe 50? I'll have to double check. And we were able to rescue 6 Kerbals. $10,000 a Kerbal, or $5,000 a Kerbal, if it ends up being cheaper. And I think that's our point of entry. Oh, no, it's not. We got to go over here to the can. The hitchhiker's box. And grab. Ah! Oh, I hit that really hard. Oops. That's what you don't want to do. You don't want to bonk. Alright, orbit. We'll take that off. Let's see what we have to do to grab this guy. He's way out here. Set as target. So our inclination is 7 degrees inclined. But what I would want to do first is make a maneuver here and just see if we can get close. 400 Delta V already. Oh yeah, it's way too much Delta V. Nope, we're just gonna come home. Let's go home. Let's get him as close to Kerbal Space Center as possible. Yeah, we'll have to send another craft out to get those guys, or to get that guy. It was a neat little experiment. We just aren't equipped to do it with this build in its current form. So we're going to burn all of our Delta V right here. I don't know where we are currently. We're right there. The planet's going to rotate, so I'm just trying to take into consideration the rotation of the planet and our burn. That seems to be what we're doing in 4 minutes and 51 seconds. Warp to the maneuver. We might have to push it out a little further. Oh, let's make our thrust back up high again. That way we get actual numbers on our burn. 26 seconds. That's a lot better. That's a lot better than what it was telling me. Parachute should be nice. We should land right right on or near KSC. That's KSC, not to be confused with the chicken restaurant here in the US. We can bring in our solar panels. We don't need them anymore. We can bring in our antenna. We don't need that anymore. We have that out in case we needed it for some maneuvers, but we're really close to the planet, so. Oh, let's do a crew report. Crew report? Transmit. That's gonna get the transmit mission there done. And then we can bring this in. Retract. Beautiful, beautiful. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's bring them home. That spins means that we're no longer in orbit of the planet. And that we will be touching our butts onto the ground soon. There's Macbree's Hulk. That was the last person we saved. They're currently 8 kilometers away from us. We're moving at a pretty good clip now because we're at a lower trajectory. I burned a little much there. I think we'll be fine. I'm going to go ahead and turn ourselves sideways and take that off. That way it goes away from us. And then we're going to face retrograde and enjoy the ride. We're not going to stage the chutes yet. We got a pilot on board, so we have full control over the ship. We can stage the chutes when needed. We're going to get ourselves towards re-entry, facing ourselves retrograde. And that looks like a pretty good trajectory on landing near the pad. It shows it a little overshot, but once we start experiencing the atmosphere, it's going to pull us way back. We're probably going to end up over here somewhere, probably. My estimations are always a little off on this. I'm still getting used to it. I like to warp through this because some of this stuff is just not needed. Starting to get the effect of the atmosphere now, so that we're going to slow down the warp now because I can't lock myself retrograde. We're hurling in. Oops. At 1,500 meters a second, which is about 3,000 miles an hour for freedom units. Yeah, we're going to fall just behind. I'll be right around here somewhere. Every time I go a little further out, I always end up way out in the water. Every time I pull back a little bit, I end up way short. It's so hard to get right on. I'll have to practice that in the future. Alright, chutes are go. I'm going to wait though until we slow down a little bit more. Chutes are go. So at the moment we have 998 now because we got the science mission done around Kerbal. Let's see how much we get paid. So we're going to say we're at an even million. We're going to turn SAS off. We don't need it on anymore. Our ablator was barely used. I thought I put it at 200, but apparently it was at... Oh, yeah. Why does it say we have 2? Oh, because this has a built-in ablator on it, too. We used 13 ablator to come in. We could actually shave more off of that if we ever use this configuration in the future in order to get a little more delta V as we're flying around. So I'm warping to 2,500. That's when the drogue chutes open. And then to 1,000, the main chutes open. So there are those. Our target is to be below 6 meters a second speed. Because anything over 6, and we lose the can. Which means our Kerbals die. We're at 5.9. We can jettison this. We're 5.6. Alright, we're perfect. That's the speed we need to be at to come in. And the chutes were configured correctly. That way the pod comes down first. Oh, that's a relief. Anything over 6 and this thing right here would break. And kill 4 Kerbals. 3 Kerbals. Well, that is it for this run, guys. If you're interested in more, let me know in the comments if you want something else special that maybe we don't do on here yet. Let me know your suggestions as well. If you want to catch my stream, I stream Friday to Tuesday every week. We play RPG and simulation games. And we have a Kerbal video every Thursday, a City Skylines video on YouTube every Wednesday. This is our YouTube career. We try to do one mission at a time or one group of missions at a time that are applicable. We'll rescue that other Kerbal later. Turn this in. Let's see how much money we make. We were at $1 million before. And this is gonna kick out and give me how much? 300,000. That's not bad. More than what we had before. We rescued all those Kerbals. They all leveled up and they're ready for the next assignment. We got no science off of that. We're gonna go to the tracking station and delete all those pods around here. The way you do that is you click on it here in the tracking station and you hit terminate. If you wanna make it more difficult for yourself, you can hold yourself responsible for going and collecting those and bringing them back in. But we're leaving it clean, that way you guys can see what we're doing in the future. We also just got a whole slew of new missions as well. We'll look at those next time. Guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.